Hey y'all, happy Sunday. So I caught myself recently having this conversation with God that I felt like I should share because I feel like maybe some of you can relate to it. Um, I was really downing myself. Um, I was really like comparing present day Ashley to past Ashley. And in my walk with Jesus, in the amount of quality time that I spent with him. And so, um, years ago when COVID hit, like when it was new and like life shut down, right? And so at that time, our normal looked different. Like it just looked completely different. I was afforded so much more time to be at home. Um, I was working remotely in a large, in a great aspect for most of that time. And it extended far past what others, received. And I was so grateful for that. But in that season, I was literally in the Word, like actually in the Word, reading the Word, spending uninterrupted time with the Lord, legitimately like 2 hours a day. And sometimes that wouldn't even suffice. Like, I mean, it was just, I don't know. Honestly, I don't have a word for it except for amazing and fulfilling and incredible. And then I look at my time with the Lord right now and the amount of time that I dedicate to prayer and the amount of time that I have just me and Jesus. And I am constantly beating myself up because it looks nothing like it did in that season. It doesn't. And God really humbled me. Like he really humbled me and allowed me to see it from a different perspective. He allowed me to see that in that time, he was building me up. Like he had me in the Word so much that I was able to finish the Bible. For the first time in my life, I was able to read the Bible cover to cover. I was able to see things in myself, in my life, in my walk, in my past that I was never able to see before. And in that time, it prepared me for where I am now. So am I in a season where I can spend that amount of quality time with God? Honestly, if I'm being open and transparent, I'm not. Since then, God has led me into, he's opened a new door and he's having me teach. And it's amazing and it's fulfilling and it's rewarding and it's exhausting all at the same time, right? I don't have the time like I used to. Our days are so stretched. When I'm not teaching, I'm coaching. When I'm not coaching, I'm in school, getting my master's degree. And above all of those three things, I'm a mother. And I love being a mother. And it's like, it's like God showed me in that moment, hey, I knew this was coming for you. I know you didn't know. You didn't know I was going to call you to teach. You didn't know I was going to call you off your job you had been at for 11 years. You didn't know I was going to call you into coaching, something that you've seen and I've talked to you about for so long. You didn't know it was all going to manifest. You didn't know you were going to actually be going back to school, even though you had been praying for it. You didn't know you were going to get this degree to propel you forward in this career path that I've set for you. But I knew. And so we took that time together because I needed to build you up. I needed you to have the Word in you so that you could rely on it in this season, so that it could sustain you in this season, so that even though you wouldn't have the same amount of uninterrupted quality time with me, you would be able to stop and pause and talk to me throughout your day as you're walking kids to class, as they're taking their tests and you're praying over them, literally as you're walking through silently, just interceding on their behalves, as I would call you to pray for their families and their siblings and their parents. And in between coaching, in between practices and tournaments and games, that you would speak to me, that you would ask me for wisdom. As you're pursuing your master's degree, that you would realize and come to see that you can't do any of this without me. You can't sustain this balancing act that I have asked of you without me. You would be so aware of my presence, and you needed that season to prepare you for this one. And so the reason I felt like I needed to share that with you is because I think some of you can relate to it. I think some of you may be in a season, and let me just ask you, like, are you in a season where you're comparing yourself to where you used to be or where you thought you would be, instead of embracing the season that God has you in right here and right now, instead of seeing the preparation and everything from before and the journeys that you were on and the paths that you walked on to get you to now, to sustain you to now, to provide for you right now so that you could do what it was that God is needing you to do here and now. And so I can see that season was the framework and the foundation to bring me to where I am now. And although I can't start my days right now with 2 hours of uninterrupted time, and although I can't journal the way I used to always journal, and although I can't do all of those things, I am so acutely aware of God's presence in my life, of his provision in our lives, in the way that he is keeping my children and I, in the way that he has sustained and provided this path and is walking alongside it with me more than ever before. And my faith and my walk is grounded and anchored in a way that I have never experienced, and it's a blessing. And so, excuse me, I want you to hear me when I say that God doesn't make mistakes. He's not mad at you. He's not frowning upon where you are right now. He saw it all coming, right? And this is just what this season looks like. Embrace the season for what it is. Thank him for what he's doing. Sing his praises and be full of gratitude for what he's doing for you in this season, but also how he's moving through you in this season to fulfill his purpose and his will. So I hope that it's of encouragement to some of you, and I hope that you will maybe see the path that you're on right now in a different light and in a different perspective, and that you will just hold on to this hope that maybe you haven't had in a while, and hold on to this hope in God and what he's doing through you, and what this beautiful plan is, this marvelous plan is that he's working for your good. So please know that you're loved. Please hold on to that hope that we all have in Christ Jesus. And I don't know, just know that you're loved. Have a great and blessed and happy Sunday.